Hi, I'm Pato from Kanji Link. In this video, I would like to explain how to say to give and to receive in Japanese. Put like this, it may seem pretty easy, but actually it's a bit tricky because there are two verbs to say to give, ageru and kureru. And to understand the difference between the two, you need to understand the cultural concept of social distance. Well, I'm pretty sure you don't act the same when you are with friends and when you are with strangers. The thing is, social distance also affects language in Japanese. You have to imagine society is a big circle, made up of smaller circles. The smallest circle is yourself. Then there is a bigger circle, which includes members of your group, for example, your family and your friends. We call this uchi, the inside. The rest of the world is called soto, the outside. That's it for the cultural note. Now let's have a look at the impact on language. The first case is when I give something to someone in a bigger circle. Whether it is someone in my group, uchi, or outside of my group, soto, I use the verb ageru. I also use the verb ageru when someone in my group gives something to someone outside of my group, and when people outside of my group give something to each other. Just remember, ageru is always from a smaller circle to a bigger circle. Now, the opposite situation. Someone in a bigger circle gives me something. In this case, I must use the verb kureru. But be careful, I also have to use kureru when someone outside of my group gives something to someone in my group. The idea is I feel close to the person who is receiving, so I make the sentence just as if I was the one receiving the gift. Just remember, kureru is always from a bigger circle to a smaller circle. Keeping this in mind, let's try to make a few sentences. First, I gave flowers to Mr. Abe. Here is the beginning of the sentence. Watashi wa Abe-san ni hana o. Now, to choose the correct verb, I have to think a little bit. In this case, I am the one giving something to someone who is outside of my group, or if you prefer, in a bigger circle. So I have to use the verb ageru in the past form, ageta. Watashi wa Abe-san ni hana o ageta. Try this one. Mr. Abe gave me a book. Abe-san wa watashi ni hon o kureta. What about this one? My older sister gave me a book. Again, this goes from a bigger circle to a smaller circle. So, ane wa watashi ni hon o kureta. Now, the opposite. I gave flowers to my older sister. This goes from a smaller circle to a bigger circle. So, watashi wa ane ni hana o ageta. 3 more examples to make sure you really got it. Mr. Abe gave a book to Mr. Shima. They are both outside of my group. So, Abe-san wa Shima-san ni hon o ageta. Try this one. My older sister gave a book to Mr. Shima. This goes from uchi to soto. So again, ane wa Shima-san ni hon o ageta. Last example. Mr. Abe gave flowers to my older sister. Mr. Abe is outside of my group, but my older sister is in my group. So this goes from a bigger circle to a smaller circle. I have to use kureru. Abe-san wa ane ni hana o kureta. Wow, that was a lot. I hope you still have energy for the last verb, to receive. So far, we have studied 2 verbs that mean to give. So we have been using the giver as the subject or topic. For example, I give him ageru, or he gives me kureru. Now, we are going to change our focus and look at it from the receiver's point of view. When the receiver is the subject or the topic, I have to use the verb morau. Let's imagine this situation. My older sister gave flowers to Mr. Abe. Ane wa Abe-san ni hana o ageta. Now, let's look at it from Mr. Abe, the receiver's point of view. Mr. Abe received flowers from my older sister. Abe-san wa ane ni hana o moratta. One last situation. Mr. Shima gave me a book. 島さんは私に本をくれた。Now, let's look at it from my perspective as a receiver. I received a book from Mr. Shima. 私は島さんに本をもらった。That's it for the two verbs to give, ageru and kureru, and for the verb to receive, morau. If you need more help, check out my website, kanjilink.com. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on your favorite social network. ありがとうございました。